Welcome back to Megaman X3. I am Sire Goku. And in the last video, we defeated Blizzard Buffalo. So now we're moving on in weakness order to Toxic Seahorse. Okay, so moving on with Toxic Seahorse, here's where things start to get a little bit challenging. This is one of the issues that a lot of people seem to have with Mega Man X3, is that notice how much damage I took from one shot. Yeah, until you get energy up, until you get life upgrades and the armor plate upgrade, you're going to be taking a lot of, and I mean a lot of damage. Compared to X1 and 2, which is one of the things a lot of people dislike about X3, is that the difficulty compared to the first two is slightly amped up. And I'm also doing something really stupid here, and there you go, Sire. Yeah, shoot him first and then make the jump. It's not that hard. Anyway, that's one of the major problems people have with X3. Aside from the massive amount of backtracking you have to do. Even if you go in weakness order, you have to do backtracking in order to get items and armor parts and all that stuff. Although with this stage, all you gotta do is keep climbing up this waterfall here, and then you can find the heart tank. So that's two. Those two, the one in Blizzard Buffalo stage and the one in Toxic Seahorse's stage, are the two simplest ones to get, in my opinion. Anyway, we will figure out what these. I will explain what those blank wall rooms are later on in this part. Actually, there is a reason for them being there, but for now they are not going to be of any importance. Same with this platform right here. But here's the water portion of this level. Once again, we are going to have to backtrack in this stage in order to get an item that's on top of this area here that we can't get to until we get the Buster upgrade later on, which is in, I believe, Neon Tiger stage, if I remember correctly, but we'll get it eventually, and I'll come back to it later. Remember, being underwater in a Mega Man game means you jump higher, so try not to jump too high, otherwise you'll jump into the spikes and die. And coming up here, this is the upper path. We can't take the upper path unless we have a ride armor, which we do not even have access to at this point. So you will have to take the lower path. And here we have our mini boss. He's fairly simple. He just kind of floats around and he drops mines and occasionally shoots missiles at you. Just keep shooting him and then he's done. Very simple boss. Mini boss, I should say. Most of the mini bosses in this game are pretty simple. I say most in quotations because there's one particular mini boss in this part that you'll see that gave me a lot more trouble than I thought he would. I'm going to straight up be honest with viewers right now. I am not perfect when it comes to Mega Man X3. In fact, X3 is the one I know the least amount of because I never owned X3. I vaguely remember I barely owned X2 for the longest time as well. Mega Man X2 and X3 were the two rarest games in the X series to find because they both use an upgraded version of the Super FX chip. For those of you that remember Star Fox or Stunt Race FX, the Super FX chip was used to enhance the graphics on a Super Nintendo cartridge, and the upgraded version... Oops. Yeah, this is one of the first of many mistakes that I made. Slide down this wall first. Proof that I do not remember every little detail about stage design in this game. But as I was mentioning before, both X2 and 3 used an upgraded version of the Super FX chip, which made the cartridge cost a lot more than it should have, and I don't think they made as many copies of X3 because it didn't sell as well as X1 and 2. Anyway, this is Toxic Seahorse. Here's another issue that people have with X3 is that the boss's patterns are basically they just jump to the left, and if you hit them with their weakness, it stuns them, and then they jump to the right again, and then that's all they do. I'll make the argument that that's what they've always done since X1, where their weakness breaks their pattern for a tiny bit. It doesn't permanently break their pattern in X1 and 2, but it breaks them enough that you have enough time to, dodge. But that's neither here nor there. If this is making it too easy, whatever. I say that it's a reward for going in weakness order. Now, what I'm trying to do here is have him show off his other special move that he has that he showed off in the intro cutscene when I selected him. He has the ability to transform into acid and move across the floor and come up behind you, but he decided he wasn't going to do that this time, and I didn't want to spend another minute and a half trying to get him to use that move, so I just finished him off when I had the chance. So for defeating Toxic Seahorse, we get the Acid Burst, which is one of the most ineffectual well, I wouldn't say that. No, I'd say the Frost Shot is worse than this. The Acid Burst here actually has a lot of good uses. But before we move on to the next one, let's have some more plot. Gee, I wonder who that could be. The game is not being subtle at all on who the main villain is. Although, when have they ever been? So now we're going to figure out what those empty rooms are for. Meet Bit and Meet Bite. The not Nappa and Vegeta of this game. They are known in the Japanese version as the Nightmare Police, and they act similarly to how the X-Hunters worked in X2, where after 2 stages, they'll show up. Oh, but there's also a third! Just like in X2, there was going to be 3 new bosses for us to fight in random stages. Meet the Mysterious Maverick, who is very obvious who he is if you've played X1. I mean, that They didn't do any attempt at hiding who that was, but whatever. So apparently Dr. Doppler rebuilt said Mysterious Maverick, and he has a score to settle. And he's gonna do it his own way, because that's just the kind of Maverick he is. Yeah, and if you still didn't know, yeah, gee, I wonder if we're going to be seeing Sigma in this game or not. That's a lot of people. There's people that have a lot of weird issues with X3, saying that, in terms of the story, it has nothing to do with the overarching plot whatsoever. And I even mentioned this in the end of my X2 LP, that in terms of story, there's only one real revelation that's revealed in this game that's plot-heavy for the X series. Other than that, it's just kind of a thing that happens. Also, I'm going to greatly apologize for the run that you're going to be seeing here of Tunnel Rhino. I already cut past a game over. I'm just gonna say that now. I cut past a game over. I did not play this game a lot. I don't know how much more... I don't know how much more I need to say, how much more proof I need to say that I haven't played this as much as other games here, as much of the other games here. But anyway, coming over here, that's where the heart tank is, but we will not be able to get that heart tank until we get 2 specific upgrades. We need a special weapon, and we need the X-Buster upgrade for the game in order to get that item. So again, we're going to have to come back later. More backtracking. But that's neither here nor there. For now, though, you have these weird, like, waterfalls of sand that will try to push you into those spikes. That's actually one of the deaths I had right there, as I went too fast and got pushed into the spikes. Once again, a free sub-tank right up there. As per usual, the sub-tanks, when you have full life energy, if you collect more life energy, it'll go into the sub-tank, and you can use the sub-tank to refill your health when you're about to die. And trust me, you're going to need all 4 sub-tanks in this game, because holy crap, does this game kick your ass through the first couple of stages until you get a couple of... I'd say this game doesn't start getting simple until you get at least 3 sub-tanks, this game doesn't start getting easy until you get about 1 sub-tank, 3 heart tanks, and the Buster upgrade. But lucky for me here, I ran into Bit. This is what I mentioned before, is that these empty rooms will randomly spawn Bit or Bite once you see that initial cutscene with Dr. Doppler sending them after you. If you don't use the Frost Shield on him, then he's going to run away, and you're going to have to fight him again in the final stages. But if you want to get the good ending, or the secret upgrade that's in this game, because like X1 and 2, you get a special upgrade if you collect all the items and heart tanks. In order to do that, you need to permanently destroy them. So in order to permanently destroy Bit, you need to kill him with the Frost Shield. And if you don't defeat them with their main weakness, then they'll just kind of warp out of the room and you'll have to fight them later. Anyway, sorry about that. I was kind of getting distracted by the music here. And again, I died right by these jerks here. I died a lot in this stage. I'm sorry, viewers. But yeah, these guys can be annoying because they'll shoot drills and then they'll throw a bomb at you. And then once you destroy them, they'll launch both of their drills at you again. Like I said, I don't have as much practice with this game as I did the first 2. Upside is, the Frost Shot, if you use it correctly, actually does have a high chance of dropping large life energy. If you can hit enemies with it, that is. Oh, excuse me. Kind of have hiccups now. I had dinner before I was doing this commentary. Whoops. But as I was trying to say, a good way to grind up energy for your sub-tanks is to kill enemies using the Frost Shield. I don't know exactly what causes it. Ow. I don't know exactly why, but for some reason when you destroy enemies using the Frost Shield, they have a higher chance of dropping large life energy. Once again, there's an item over there that we can get, but we can't get it until we get a specific weapon and the Buster upgrade. So we will be coming back for a second weapon, for a second upgrade in this level. Again, this game has a lot of backtracking, and no matter how much you do, no matter which order you go in, there's always going to be some amount of backtracking. Now we got this mini-boss who, for some reason, he's supposed to be able to get locked in a loop. But I, for some reason, couldn't get him to do that right away. And as you can see, I'm on my last life here. So I'm just like, please work. Nope. He wants to be a jerk. Now, what's supposed to happen is if you're standing near the wall or on the wall, yeah, he'll knock you into it to knock you over. And if you jump back on the wall, it's supposed to reset his pattern to constantly hit the wall over and over again, and then he'll never latch onto the ceiling. Thankfully, I cut ahead, because you don't want to see me go through the entire stage again. But now I finally got it to work. I don't know how I was getting it wrong before. Maybe I just wasn't quick enough, or maybe I wasn't standing close enough to the wall to get it to work. But this is what he should do, is that every time you climb up near anytime you're close to the door, he'll try to ram into you to knock you off the wall, and then he'll just keep doing this over and over and over again until you destroy him. And I apologize for this being ridiculously slow, but I'd rather him just keep doing this over and over again than dying to his stupid other attack. So I don't really have much more to say about this guy. Oh good, he's dead. Whew! Thank God. This was a horrible run of this level, and I apologize again, but, you know, let's play Curse. I'm even doing post-commentary, because there's no way I'm going to be doing live commentary for a game that I'm going to have to do a lot of backtracking in. So, even when I wasn't recording commentary live, I still had issues with recording this level. Oh well. What are you going to do? Here's another enemy that's annoying, these wall cancers, and yes, that's what they're called. They are called wall cancers because they're crabs and, you know, constellations and all that. But anyway, these giant electric energy balls that they shoot really, really frickin' hurt. And if they hit you with a fully charged one, I think it does half your health. It's ridiculous. As you can see here again, as I mentioned earlier, the leg upgrades allow you to dash straight up now as well, instead of just directly forward in the air. So that'll help a lot if you misjump things. But let's finish this level, because my god was this a train wreck. Let's just go fight Tunnel Rhino. And Tunnel Rhino is basically the mini-boss again, except much less annoying. He'll dash into the wall and try to knock you off the wall if you're holding on to it. And then he'll shoot drills at you. Unlike the mini-boss, though, you don't have like a really small room where he's going to cling to the ceiling and throw something at you that's kind of hard to dodge, while he's also punching you. No, instead he's just going to dash to the left, shoot drills, then dash to the right. And then there's points where he's going to flash a bunch of colors like right there. And when he flashes colors like that, he's invincible. So you just have to wait for him to hit the wall, and then you can hit him with the acid burst, and he's done. Very simple boss. I got hit a few times, but he's a lot easier than the mini-boss, at least. That much I'll say for sure. A lot of people will take Tunnel Rhino first because of that little issue there. But because of the way that Blizzard Buffalo works, he's even easier. But, yay, we're done! Man, that was an awful run of that stage. But, even though I'm a huge fan of Mega Man, I'm not perfect at it, and you get to see why. For defeating Tunnel Rhino, we get the Tornado Fang. And with this item, we can also defeat Bite once we run into him. But we'll meet up with Bite in a later video. Thank you guys for watching. I will see you guys in the next video.